Introducing the Wandering Creatives Podcast, a Coutts Creations production. Sharing the stories of real people being real crafty in real life. This one is for the creatives, the lovers of art, and those looking for inspiration. Join host Allie Coutts and guests every week and embark on a journey through creativity. You'll explore what it means to be creative, the challenges associated with being a maker and artist, and what it takes to make it as a creative entrepreneur. There will be laughs, honest conversations, advice, and inspiring stories for every wanderer out there. Enjoy this sneak peek of the upcoming season of the Wandering Creatives Podcast.
I would love to know, and this is, I feel like a little bit of a, I don't want to say philosophical question, but obviously it is very subjective. So I would love to know how you define creativity, what it means to you.
Yes. Thank you, Allie. I prepared a little for this interview by looking at some of the questions you'd sent. And when I saw that question, I was like, oh my goodness.
It's a big one.
What is creativity? That is a huge question. So I did prepare a little in advance for, not again talking for a year on the subject, because you would not like that. We'd destroy Zoom. Zoom would self-destruct.
We'd have to start a whole other podcast just about the topic.
Yes, Creativity Live. So I found one of my favorite writers on the topic of creativity is Sir Ken Robinson. Maybe you know him, and he's got a ton of YouTube videos on like TED Talk kind of things on creativity. He's got a book called The Element, which is beautiful talk on creativity. He's no longer with us. He passed away a few years ago, I think. He's British. He's just very inspiring. So I highly recommend him. So I thought I would first turn to Sir Ken, but then in my own words, kind of talk about it. What is creativity? So Sir Ken says, creativity is applied imagination. So I think that's very simple, beautiful, streamlined way of looking at what is creativity. I believe creativity is our ability to reconnect to that childlike sense of being curious. As I was talking about earlier, our ability to improvise. Many of us were told when we were young to stop imagining things, or that's just your imagination, as though that's a bad thing. We belittle these skills, but imagination is everything, as Einstein said. To draw connections between things from one thing to the next, that is kind of a right-brained function. To use our imaginal minds and senses. We all have this. Many of us lose access to it. It's not fostered in education. And I think fundamentally it's directly connected to our ability to play. And out of play comes genius. And I've seen it in my writing groups. And, people who thought they couldn't write, suddenly they get connected to their imaginal mind. I remember one woman who is a newer writer, and all of a sudden she started writing about these flipping fish on a rug. And she's like, I don't know where that came from. Oh my God. And she, was kind of connecting to something very old, very primal, very much in her subconscious mind, like the dream world, that we can dream awake,
Yes. The reconnecting to that childlike curiosity, that is how I would define creativity for myself, is something very much like that, because it's, when you are a child, it's, I don't know how to say it, you are open to everything, really, right? Like your imagination can run wild, and then you can create your own worlds. And then, as you get older, the world kind of dampens that a little bit. Reality, dampens it a bit. And so when you said that, the reconnect to that childlike curiosity, I was like, yeah, that is how I would define it myself as well.
Follow the Wandering Creatives podcast on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Be sure to like, rate, and review. You can also follow along at couttscreations.com/podcasts and on Instagram at wandering_creative_.